I got fat. Now, in order to explain this to you guys, what I need to do is go back, all right to the beginning. So my name is Nathaniel Messiah, and I've been making YouTube videos since 2017, and in 2019, I got my big break. The main things that I was known for was my strength and my physique. But the thing is, I've always been a natural lifter. So when you're natural, generally speaking, you can't really focus on the two of these at the same time. So I had a formula that was pretty much down to a T. In the autumn and winter, I would bulk, focus on strength, hit new PRs and make a bunch of content about that. And then in the summers, I would get shredded and I would generally have some form of boys holiday, and I would take a bunch of physique pictures and videos and then have those banked up. Now, since you guys have been following me, I pretty much did this every single year. And I kind of documented my strength and my physique progression through my ages. So if we go back to 2019, when I was 16, I hit a 260 kilogram deadlift. And then the next year, you know, got shredded, and that's when I went on holiday with Oliver and we went to Marbella. This is my first time getting like properly shredded, right? And I feel like I have one of those physiques where you only really get to see like the full potential of my physique when I'm lean, because I don't have like crazy bubbly muscle insertions. So a lot of people when I'm bulked don't really think I look that great, but then when I cut, it's like, oh damn, like that's what you actually look like. So 2020, I get in the best shape of my life. And I actually managed to hold that decently throughout the rest of that year. And so even in towards the back end of the year, when I was focusing on strength, I didn't put on too much weight. And I still managed to stay fairly lean. And that's when at 17, I hit 300. Then the next year, continued to gain strength. And then this is the well-known Ibiza trip with Joe Fazer and Archer, these guys. And I got in even better shape for that trip. I was super lean, I gained size, and these were some of the best pictures that I'd ever taken. And then towards the back end of that year, I hit a 320 kilogram deadlift when I was 18. And then we hit university. So I go to university, lifestyle kind of goes out the window, you know, general freshers activities. And I don't manage to hold my leanness as well as I did for the previous year, but I was still focusing on strength. And when I went to university is when I started competing in powerlifting. So around about this time, when I bulked, I got up to a bit over 90 kilos. And when I would cut, I would get down to between 83 and 85 kilos. This is around about the weight that I was at. So when I competed in powerlifting, I competed in a 93 kilo weight class, and I did well. I did a qualifier comp and I did British University Championships and I came second. Now, however, although I was competing in powerlifting at this time, powerlifting wasn't my main focus in life. I had other things going on. I was a university student, you know, an ambassador for some big brands, and I wasn't willing to commit myself fully to powerlifting, and it was actually quite scary to me at the time as well. Again, I do what I've always done, and I go on a pretty big cut, and I don't actually know if I was in better shape than the previous year. I don't think so. But I still get really lean, and then again, another boys trip, we go to Paris, and then going into the back end of that year is when I decided to drop out of university. So I dropped out of uni, and this did two things. It gave me extra time, and I also lacked kind of purpose in a sense. So I would say my training around about this time felt a little bit lost. Like, I wasn't going into the gym, I didn't have a proper plan. I was just kind of training for strength, also physique. In the beginning of 2023 is when I went with my friend Joey, and I've told this story a million times, but he kind of told me what people in powerlifting thought of me and how like I wasn't like that much of like a serious lifter basically. And this really lit a fire under me. And that coupled with the fact that I didn't have too much going on around that time. Obviously I was doing social media, doing all the other stuff I'm doing, but again, I'm used to balancing all of this with either school or university, and I don't have that. So literally the next day I text the guy who's now been my coach for 3 years, Owen, and I'm like, let's get started. So this was the beginning of my start of taking powerlifting 100% seriously. So at this point I tell my coach that one of my main goals is to be one of the best lifters in the UK. And we get started on that task. So I do a qualifier, I do junior nationals, and I come third. I get the call up to Worlds. And again this year, so I would say I was focused on powerlifting, but I wasn't 10 toes down 1000%, because again this year I wasn't fully happy with how I looked. Again, when I would cut and I'd be like loving my physique, I was in the 80s, like between 87 and 83, and around this time I'm say like 95. So I wasn't fully happy with my physique. I remember one particular day doing a shoot with Joey, doing a video with Joey, and he was gnarly leaner when he was 83, and I just didn't like how I looked. So I went on a cut this summer, even though I had the world's call up, and I got down to about 91, and I looked good. We went to Ibiza, I was probably like 92-ish. then, and I still looked good, not like the crazy shape that I was, you know, when I would cut for summer in the past, but still in good shape and still had decent strength. I did see a bit of a strength hit, particularly to my bench. Squat was still okay, but bench wasn't as good as it could have been, and then my deadlift was still good. This is the thing, when I always used to cut, the main thing that I would use to show my strength was my deadlift, and this doesn't get majorly affected by going on a cut, because if anything, your leverages actually get better. So yeah, I do a cut again for summer, Worlds comes up, I put the weight pretty much back on. I got back up to like 95 and a bit kilos, do World Championships, and even though I came into that competition ranked 8th, I ended up coming 3rd, which is an enormous result. Over the moon about this. So after this, like, powerlifting started to be the main forefront focus in my mind, because I was starting to see what I could do in it. Obviously coming from not even being that 10 toes down on it, and within 8 months of having a coach, coming 3rd at the World Junior Championships, it was insane. So then a month and a bit later, I had the European Championships, and this was a big one for me. I was going into the competition against people that I'd lost to before, but I ended up winning. So within my first year of properly focusing on powerlifting, I'm a junior European champion. And this is around about the time where it's like, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is powerlifting. And it wasn't only that, it was the social media reaction. I mean, around about Worlds, Euros not so much, but Worlds, my social media was going crazy. It was, the YouTube video even went trending. This was like, okay, I'm gonna focus on this, and I'm good at it, and I almost feel like I have an obligation to do this because I clearly have, you know, a gift in it. So yeah, this brings us to last year. So last year I had two goals which were goals that I almost needed to tick off to feel accomplished in life. I wanted to set the junior deadlift world record, and I wanted to become a junior world champion. These were my 2 goals for last year. And I won't do the long thing. Obviously you guys know what happened last year, XYZ. Long story short, I go to World Championships last year, not coming in with the biggest total, going up against 2 guys who were extremely strong, and I end up doing both of them. I win World Championships, I become junior world champion. It's the best video footage I've ever got in my life, and subsequently gone absolutely crazy on social media. And this was like powerlifting ticked off essentially for me. Like this was the epitome. It didn't get much better than that. And then I kind of had a choice to make. I've accomplished everything I pretty much can accomplish in junior powerlifting as a 93 kilo lifter. I've missed it out actually, sorry. Going into this World Championships, again, I've told you guys about my weights leading up to this, but now, as I was leading up to Worlds, it was getting increasingly hard to stay 93, because I'm actually sitting up at like 96, probably my heaviest like 97 kilos. Got to get down to 93, and this has been an issue the entire time I was in 93. Like all the times I was in 93, I never actually weighed 93 kilos chilling around training. The lowest was probably like those first few comps in 2023, and also in 2024 around the Arnold and Nationals, I weighed like probably like 94 kilos. But yeah, as I focused on powerlifting and got a bit heavier, it was getting hard to stay 93. And Worlds was a fairly difficult gut and water cut. So yeah, after I win, it's like I've got a decision to make. I could stay 93, you know, maybe try go back to back, battle it out with Joey. Or I could do what I feel like my body is telling me to do, because it's getting increasingly hard to stay 93, and what would kind of like etch my name in history, if it makes sense. Like, yeah, I've won Worlds, junior world record, but if I was to go up a weight class and win back-to-back years, that would just be like the best thing ever, you know? And I feel like it's a decision that my body is telling me I need to make anyway. I'm still young. I've been at 93 for the entire time I've been powerlifting, and I'm getting heavier and heavier. It's kind of what I need to do. So I made that decision, and we decided to bulk up to the 105 kilo weight class. Now at first things were still going well. I was still fairly lean. I was hitting PRs almost straight off the bat. And even into December we go for a big session. I hit 865 kilo total, 300 squat, 200 bench, 365 kilo deadlift. And I was still in decent shape around December. It was probably like just over 100 kilos or so, still in decent shape. But then, obviously, I keep pushing because I have a weight class to fill out, and if I want to be competitive, it's best to probably not hold myself back. So I keep pushing, I keep eating, and I wasn't doing super physique checks like that. Like when I would go to the gym, I didn't often go to gyms where they had like good lighting. I would check my physique and stuff. But in like February, I did a physique video with Joey, and I was probably around 103 kilos, and I actually thought I looked really good then for that size. And then we went to, when I went to the Arnold's in Ohio, I took a physique video then, and again, maybe around 103 kilos, and I still looked good. But then as I started hitting more like 104 and getting up to about 105, my physique, it just kind of spilled over. It gone past the filled out point and was now like the getting fat point. And I would say that I did start struggling mentally. Like, I'm someone that's always been known just not for strength but my physique, and now the physique aspect is kind of out the window. I don't really want to show my physique like that. This year I had junior nationals to qualify me for worlds this year, and I win, but my physique isn't in the shape that I would want. Obviously I'm stronger than I've ever been. Obviously my physique isn't in the shape that I would want, but I mean I'm stronger than I've ever been. My squats were out of this world, bench was really good, but the extra weight did make me feel a bit tired around deadlifts, and this is probably one of the things why I didn't deadlift quite as much as I wanted to, as well as having to defend first. But anyway, yeah, I win, obviously great, but like physique is like, yeah, not really there. And then I go on holiday, go to Mexico, and I just don't, like, I don't really want to take too many pictures with my shirt off. I don't like the way I look. I feel a bit fat and stuff. And yeah, like, the thing is, in good lighting, with good angles, I still look pretty good. But it's like 99% of the time you're not under those conditions, so you do feel like you look really fat. Like, I went to King's like 2 days ago and, you know, got a pump, good angle, you know, the mirror that kind of angles down so your upper half looks bigger than your lower half. Took the picture, and you know, I look good, but then majority of the time I look like this, which I don't feel as good about. And this is real, man. This is how I actually feel. Like, it's an adjustment, especially for someone that's always kind of took pride in their physique, and now doing something where it's like, it's not even a thing where, like, if I was doing like a turbo bulk and I know that, okay, but I'm gonna cut. It's the prospect of never really being able to cut if I want to stay on the path that I'm on. Like, there's not going to be any time with me being a 105 where it makes sense to properly cut, unless I get up to 110 kilos and it's like, okay, I can cut down. But at 110 kilos, I'm gonna look like the moon. So that doesn't really make sense. Yeah, I would say even that's more mentally challenging. It's not just how I look; it's the prospect of not being able to cut that is really down. Tyson, down. Down. But yeah, I would say that's really what's getting to me. It's not necessarily just how I look, it's the prospect of not being able to cut. So it's like, I've got a goal obviously, which is to win worlds this year, and that's a very high goal because I've got to beat this guy in Regan who is absolutely insane. But I've committed to it, you know. This is what I'm going to try and do. But in order to do that, I have to kind of let go of my physique, and it's hard. It is hard, man. I won't lie. It is hard. You don't get everything in life. Like, if you make a decision and you stick to it, you know, I could have stayed 93, but I wouldn't have gained as much strength. It would have been very hard to hold that weight. I wouldn't have been able to eat all this nice food. And you have to pick your battles, you know. And like, going into it because I know that I'm not a natural 93. I was looking at it like, Joey's probably more of a natural 93. You know, if he keeps going the way he was going and then I stall, he could beat me. And then like, what then? So it's like, this video isn't just a sob story though. I want to actually provide some information. So I would say, on the one hand, if I was to give myself advice, and if it's advice to anyone who's maybe got like in maybe just a place where you're not totally happy with your physique, I would just say, like, don't try to be in denial about it. Don't try to like really convince yourself and only look at yourself when you're in those crazy lighting and angles. You know, just accept, you know, where you are, and that, like, that's okay, you know, and like, you're not any less like worthy because of it. And that's obviously hard as a fitness influencer, a natty fitness influencer, where it's like, man, I know that if I was on gear, I could probably gain a bunch of strength and be hella lean at the same time. But it's like, no, I'm making a decision, I'm staying natural, I'm competing in the IPF, and this is what I've signed up for. And now, for the people who maybe are in this position and you would like to go on a cut, this is what I would do if I was me, but I was able to cut and I had, say, 10 weeks, 8 weeks to do this. First thing I would do is just up my steps as much as possible. Steps are an extremely underrated, I wouldn't say underrated, people know about them, but steps make an enormous difference when you're trying to go in a cut, because you can literally just do this and then that by itself puts you into a calorie deficit without having to change anything about your workouts, your diet. If you get in a few thousand extra steps per day, you're burning several hundred more calories per day without having to massively change anything. So number one, I would say, is steps. Number two would be, don't go and think that because you're trying to cut, you have to change all your workouts to more like shredding, toning workouts. You want to do your exact same workouts and keep the exact same intensity, because the intensity of your workouts is what is going to preserve your muscle mass while you're cutting. Obviously alongside alongside with eating a high protein diet, but your body is essentially a use it or lose it mechanism. So if you're not using the muscle that you have and continuing to push the weights, then you're going to lose it, and you're already running a risk of losing it when you're cutting. But this really makes a difference. Literally, whatever you were doing to build that muscle is the same thing you want to do when you're trying to lose the fat. Just do the next thing, which is stay in a calorie deficit. You want a moderate calorie deficit. If you're trying to go like more aggressive, you can go for a more aggressive one, but you just want to make sure that you're maintaining your protein intake. If anything, always increase your protein intake and strip the calories probably back from carbs. I say carbs because although carbs are obviously very necessary for, you know, maintaining your muscle fullness and your energy through your workouts, if you strip back your fat intake too much, obviously fat plays a role in your obviously hormonal balance, and obviously protein is so necessary to maintain your muscle, and especially on a cut, you might even want to eat slightly more protein. And then I would say you just want to orient your carbs around your training sessions. You know, I would say before and after training, these are the main times that you want to have carbs. Other than that, this is probably what I would cut back on. So if you guys want any more info on this, I've just released a new summer shred plan, which is going to show you exactly how to do this, alongside giving you app access, ability to track your meals, and give you a similar of an experience to online coaching as you can get for a fraction of the price. I also do have online coaching as well, so if this is something you want, DM me coach. So yeah, that is what I would do if I didn't have a world title to win, but unfortunately I do, so I can't do any of those. But you know, the things that I can do is obviously like clean up my diet a bit. You know, there's been times during this period where I haven't been eating the cleanest. Make sure that I'm doing enough steps. I think one of the things that actually held me at 93 last year was that I got a dog, the guy that's been in and about this video, and I was walking him loads around that time, doing a significant amount more steps than I previously was doing. So I think this was helping me to stay 93 when my body probably wanted to get heavier. But yeah, can't go in a cut. I just have to double down on it. And you know, powerlifting is not going to be forever. Obviously, I've made this goal, so I'm going to stick to it. But after that, you know, who knows? I'm not going to make any bold statements now. But yeah, guys. So yeah, if you're struggling this summer, know that you're not alone. I've never done anything this vulnerable before. Don't know if you guys can tell. So it's a learning curve for me, but I hope it was helpful for you guys. And yeah, man. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching the video. If you want to support me, make sure you grab something from Young LA and grab something from my protein as well. Code Nate on both of those. Get yourself a discount. And yeah, guys, thank you for watching the video. I'm gonna catch you in the next one.